Well, welcome to the call. I'm glad you're able to make it, and I thank you for your patience as I had to reschedule. Things are back on
And
track.
I feel
So,
honored to be talking with you too. So thank you
uh,
for offering these calls because I think they really give people, you know, I am working with an AC therapist, but for some reason you seem to be the be all end all when it comes to all this stuff. So it just
uh,
reassures people when they get to talk to you, I think.
well, I appreciate it, and it's a pleasure chatting with you as well. And yeah, I've been through it myself, and probably worse than everybody that on our team. So I do have a good understanding of what anxiety disorder is like and what it can do. So, we are committed to helping people get through it and get on with their lives. So, here to answer your questions. So let's roll.
Do you need any background or of how I got here, or do you want me to just go from here forward, trying to
Yeah, let's
what?
just go from here forward. You
Okay.
know, the specifics of a person's background aren't as important as usually either we're anxious, a long time, or we've run through a
Oh yeah,
major
I've always
stressful.
been anxious for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gotten help with it before, but mostly before it was intrusive thoughts. It was like they called it OCD because
Yeah.
I would do the compulsions and
Yeah.
and and I got successfully treated for that. I mean, I got to the point I was taking Zoloft for like 25 years. I have to say, I felt good on it. It's a
Yeah.
very low dose
Hmm.
for the last 25 years before this one experience happened. And I got to the point where I wasn't afraid of anything. I mean,
Mm.
I could go flying. I hated used to hate flying. I could go flying, and I look forward to. I think a lot of people tell you that right before this experience happened, they felt fine,
Yes. Yeah.
but they just
Yeah.
didn't realize. And looking back now, I do realize that a lot was coming physically, stress was coming on me. So, anyway,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 3.5 years. I want to say that the first 2.5 years, I probably was doing everything wrong because
Okay.
I'm a fighter and I was fighting it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was looking for the quick fix. I even tried the Klonopin and I was like, and I had taken that before a long, long, long time ago, but I knew that it was not good. And I don't like feeling drowsy and out of it and all that. So
Yeah.
um, I've always been hyper vigilant, I guess. So right now, where I am feeling stuck is I have one more. My body is really came back within the last year. My body stopped doing all the jolting and
Mm.
sweating and all that. So I feel
Yeah.
like from my neck down, I feel okay.
Good. Well,
It's
good. You made a
right
lot of
here.
progress.
It's
Yeah.
right here. I have sound anxiety and smell anxiety. If people talk to me, sometimes I get like this jolt right here in the middle of my head. Um, and I find that right now I'm just fearful all the time. I'm fearful of interacting because I don't want to feel that feeling anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and I try and go do things. And I don't avoid anything, but I
Mhm.
just don't feel good yet.
Yeah.
Um, I don't feel confident in myself. I don't feel stable. I have like 5 grandchildren that I help take care of. And I
Mm.
just feel like I'm outside. I do go outside a lot because that seems to calm me down. But
Hmm.
it's the symptoms, the head symptoms right here, and the thoughts that come when I feel a symptom, I'll get a bad thought, like spontaneously.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel stuck right now. I do have a lot of time where I kind of don't have much to do. So I think I'm
Okay.
thinking, ruminating.
Mm.
Um, so for me, I want to get past the sound and the smell and the being afraid of everything.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I don't know if you call that hyperstimulation still.
It can be. Have you ever taken our hyperstimulation test at our website?
Yeah, I've always been high. So,
Even recently, like in the last month or so?
um, I mean, it's with me 24/7. So I would think that that would still mean I'm high, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if you're having symptoms, and they don't have to be like complete body symptoms, but if you have pervasive symptoms,
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
okay. All right. So let me ask you, when you were working in recovery, have you done underlying factors yet? Where anxious
Yeah, a little
behaviors come
bit. We
from?
talked about, I've always been fearful. So fear is a big, for some reason, fear seems to be the emotion that when I don't feel things are, um, I get fearful when I feel like things are not under my control, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and I've always been like that.
Yeah. As you know from our materials, a lot of our anxious behaviors come from our background,
Yeah.
often modeled by our parents, and that's why
Mhm.
we develop, OCD tendencies. And OCD tendencies, as you know from our materials, is that it's not that something's gone wrong in our brain. It's just that we've learned to cope with things externally. We
And
have to make sure,
interestingly enough, my brother has it too. I have a
yeah,
brother that's got the same thing, and we're very similar. So, anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
What's the age difference? Is he younger, older brother?
He's older by 5 years.
Okay, yeah. Is it just the two of you, or do you have other sibs?
No, I have two other siblings.
And how are they doing with anxiety?
They don't have it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah. So
And I
your
think
brother,
my dad was very anxious.
okay,
So,
sure. Yeah, so we learn that coping style, and then, and depending on how our parents interacted with us, if we felt reassured, then we typically don't struggle with anxiety. But if we don't feel reassured and if we're left on our own too much, then we have to find ways to cope as a child, and we do that externally. The external world has to be safe, or we feel frightened, and that's where
right. That's
OCD comes
exactly
from.
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly
Yeah,
it.
yeah. All right. So it's a coping style we learn. The good news is that we can unlearn it and move on. But it's nice to know where these things come from. But from where you are now, even feeling anxious inside your mind on an ongoing basis will stem from those underlying factors in terms of how you learn to cope with uncertainty, risk, right? And so if we feel we still have to cope externally, well, then we're going to struggle because that means our external world has to be
That's
safe
what
before we can
that's what
feel
my
safe.
therapist was telling me too. She's like, you need to find it in yourself. Now, don't keep going to the external
Yeah.
reassurances, which
Yeah.
is what I've always done.
Yeah. And it's easy to say. I mean, we know where the issue is. The problem is we don't feel safe on the inside, so we can't go there. That's not how
Right.
we've learned to feel safe, right? So
Right.
it's nice knowing what we need to do, but now we have to work at doing it. And we do that by building internal confidences, by like some of the materials we mentioned at the website, learning to build internal a resilience, right? Learning
Okay.
to find ways to, when we're looking for external ways to calm ourselves, we have to say, okay, now how can I reappraise this situation so I can feel safe on the inside? And I think this is where the three conditions of fear can really be helpful. It certainly helped me. Is all right. So what am I afraid of? Number one, identify what the threat is. Number two is identify, is it imminent or is it, a long ways off? Number three is, do I have the ability to defend myself against this threat or to cope with the consequences of the threat? And,
Okay.
and, and as you know from our materials, if any one of those, if all three of those come together, and if we don't, if we think it's dangerous, if we think it's right away, and if we think we can't cope, we're going to be afraid. So then, as we're reappraising to build confidence on the inside, we want to ask ourselves, okay, first off, is my reappraisal correct? Is this really threatening? What's my fear? Is it really threatening? And a lot of times with anxious people will say it's yes, because again, we don't feel safe on the inside, right? So that's
Right.
kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, the symptom makes me scared. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so then we want to look at the third option because, especially with anxiety disorder, condition number two is always prevalent. We're dealing with symptoms, it's always imminent, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so the conditions one and two are already there. So where we make the successes in condition three,
Okay.
how do I cope with what I'm dealing with? All right, so
Okay.
if my symptoms bother me, why are they bothering me? So let's ask that question to you first off. Let's just focus on the feeling anxious on the inside.
Uh-huh.
Why does that scare you? What does it mean to you to feel anxious on the
It's
inside?
more the shock feeling I feel when the symptom hits me
Hmm.
because somebody will be talking to me and they'll say like a word or they'll laugh too loud and it just like kind of jolts and it just scares me.
Okay.
the feeling scares me. And
Sure.
then I
So,
get afraid of hearing that sound again. And so I'm always like looking out, like, how do I get away from it? Like it just, everything feels too overwhelming to my senses, I guess, right
sure.
now.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I'm
so,
dealing with.
and another part of this is likely here is that it's not just when the sound pops up or the image or
It's
the
thinking about
sensory.
it too. Yeah.
It's so what if this sends me backwards? A lot of times, if we've struggled a lot, that'll trigger a fear. Gee, I don't want to go backwards. What if this, continues to bother me and I can't get rid of it? And so we
Right.
sort of run down that trail. All right. So how we stop that, since you've spent time with the therapist and on our materials, you want to look at, all right, so right now your body is hyperstimulated. It is going to be reactive and you are going to get waves of those strong impressions. That's just how it is. When the body's
Okay.
hyperstimulated in the high degree range, it is going to behave that way. Because if you know from chapter 14, hyperstimulation and its effects, hyperstimulation affects a lot of things, including our sensory systems and how the nervous system responds. And it can behave erratically. So we can get these really powerful impressions out of nowhere.
Right.
Even when we're having a good time, it can just sort of well up and it's
Yeah,
like it's there.
exactly. Hmm.
Yeah. So we want to recognize that is a hallmark of hyperstimulation. Like, boiling it down, okay, that's just chronic stress, high degree chronic stress. It is going to happen. They're not dangerous. If we underreact to it and let them pass, they do. So in those moments when those, strong feelings are well up, it's like, okay, that my body's stressed, it's doing this. I just need to keep myself calm here and this will subside. And you'll notice that it does. Like we're never in it 24/7 every day for years and years and years. We have waves of it, right?
Right.
If we keep fueling it with the what if and what if this and what if it never goes away and what if it's stronger and what if I can't take this anymore and what if I have to leave? What if it makes me all
That's
those
what
what
I
if stuff?
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that just keeps it going. So we know that's the fuel. So we don't want to do that. We want to remain calm, let the body be reactive as much as it wants. If we remain calm, it'll stop because the body always ebbs down. So we just have to ride out that wave. So that was huge for me, recognizing that because I used to get those too. Like out of the blue, I'd start to feel better. It's like you get this really strong wave of feeling awful and things don't line up and you're confused. It's like, what is this? But until I realized, well, this is my body's reacting to high stress. All right, I'm just going to relax through it. I'm just going to, let it do what it does, keep myself calm, and it'll go away. And it
Yeah.
will.
My question is obviously I get it when I go out into public.
Yes.
So if I'm out in public and I'm getting these symptoms, how do you relax when you're out in public and you're talking to people? Like it's hard for me to go to a restaurant right now and sit and talk to people. I mean, that would be hell for me.
I get it. I was
Because it
there. I
would,
knew that. I
yeah.
know that one.
So do I not do that until I feel better or what? That's where I'm confused because
Sure.
before I would fight through it, I would go, but it, I'm just probably making myself worse. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, if
I'm
we
just
haven't
confused.
Yeah, if we haven't addressed the fear side of it, then we will likely continue to, feel awful and get worse and maybe stay away and all that because we don't understand why it works and, how do we get rid of it? It's the fear that keeps it all going. So for me, and like I said, I mentioned this, I get it. I used to be terrified of restaurants for that feeling, for that reason, because the feelings would just well up out of nowhere and you just feel awful. And if,
Trapped, feel
yeah,
trapped too. Like I can't just
trapped.
get up and run away.
Yeah. And for me, it'll affect my stomach. And then I would get, physically sick and sitting amongst people who are eating and
Yeah.
everything. And it's like, well, I don't want to. And of course, I was hypersensitive to being embarrassed. So I didn't want to do that. So I just felt, like you say, trapped. So what I did is realize, okay, so I'm getting these because my body's stressed. I understand that I'm feeling these with my fear. I get that. So what do I do when I want to start to reintegrate? Well, first off, I understand hyperstimulation. So I understood hyperstimulation and I knew those waves would come. Okay, so what do I do? Well, I would get up and say, excuse me, I would just get up, go for a little walk either inside the restaurant to the bathroom or whatever, or go outside, go for a little bit of a walk until a wave passed, and then I'll go back and sit down again. Now, the people who knew me, a lot of them didn't know I was struggling with anxiety disorder until years after, but the ones who did know, they got it. They never made any comments. They understood this. So when I left this, yeah, okay, go ahead. We'll see you in a minute. And so I learned to manage that. So restaurants didn't become fearful because I wasn't trapped anymore, because I had an out. I could get up and just leave and walk, settle myself, and then go back when I was ready. So, and it takes some time to do that, to build the confidence that when the wave shows up, you can even settle yourself right there. You don't have to get up and leave. But it took a while for me to get that. The more confident I got in doing that and settling myself, the easier it was for me to go to restaurants. And over the course of time, then restaurants were not an issue. So, like extinguishing most, hard and fast fears, it takes time. We have to practice. We have to be patient as we work through them. But as our confidence builds that we can do this, that's what extinguishes the fear. It's the confidence that I can do this and I can do it over and over again. And these waves aren't that big a deal. And that
And is
convinces
that
the
what's
amygdala that we're
keeping the
good.
symptom there? Is my
I'm
fear
sorry?
of it? Is that what's keeping the symptom there? My fear of it?
Yes. Well, your fear of it and your hyperstimulation. Because as you know, hyperstimulation will keep that fear center really keyed up, right? It's just hyperreactive. And so that's why we always recommend first, level one recovery is getting the body settled. Because as hyperstimulation levels diminish, and the amygdala, Amy, it becomes less reactive. And so we have more control over it as our stress level diminishes. So if you're still registering high in hyperstimulation, Amy's going to be hyperreactive and it's going to keep on hitting that fear button for you. That's just what
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
So if you can find ways of gearing your body down and relaxing and doing whatever you can during the off hours, like if you at home you don't have a lot to do, focus on doing things you love, things that are relaxing, and let your body settle. One of the mistakes we often make is when we're by ourselves and we're trying to settle our body, it's we keep triggering ourselves with a thinking, oh man, this is never going to go away. I'm never going to recover. Like, what's going on here? I can't take this anymore. All that inner dialogue just keeps triggering that fear center, which keeps hyperstimulation up. So we have to recognize, okay, I have two problems here. My body's chronically stressed and I'm an anxious person. So I'm going to contain my anxious behavior. And priority number one is getting my body settled so I have more control over Amy. And so
Okay.
that should be our goal. Now, going back to your core fear, it is common for people who have struggled with anxiety disorder to have past fears that seem pressing. And one is, I'll never get through this. I've had this, I've had horrible experiences. I don't ever want to go back there. So when symptoms fire, we automatically go back to we don't do that. So we have to say, okay, wait a minute. That's a form of worry. I'm triggering myself off by dwelling on the what if I go back. I have to stop doing that. Worry is my enemy. So I just need to cut it off and say, no, no. If I focus on getting my stress down and I contain my anxious behavior, my body is going to recover because it has to, has no choice. And so
Uh-huh.
that becomes where we go. And as we start to make progress, it also builds our confidence. And then confidence overrides the anxiety. And as we keep on building that confidence, we're less anxious, the body settles. Next thing you know, we're through this and we're feeling pretty good. So where you are now, there's still some work to do in terms of addressing your fear and getting that stress down. Now, if you're looking after 5 grandchildren, that's kind of stressful. Even though you
Yeah,
love them, they
yeah,
still got a lot to do, right?
yeah,
So in your off hours, try to find ways to decompress and de-stress and not let
yeah.
yourself run down the what if trail and I'm stuck in anxiety and I hate this and I'm never gonna. None of that's helpful. Like it doesn't do anything. I know why the brain wants to do that because it's trying to figure your way out of danger, but it's that figuring that keeps us stuck. So we have to cut it off and say, okay,
So
we got to
I've
go back
so
to the
I've
basics,
told
right?
myself that this is danger, these feelings. Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because it is threatening to you, or you wouldn't be afraid of it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I think as you process this more with your therapist, you can dig down to the roots of it and find out what that core threat is and deal with that directly, which will help you eliminate that fear. Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing with your senses, the smell and the sight and the hearing, if you have all that, because your body is um, hyperstimulated at the
Vigilant.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to receiving those sensory information at full blast at times. A lot of times it can be good. And sometimes it can be like right over the top. Again, that's just another hallmark of hyperstimulation. We have to, no matter when it comes, we have to contain ourselves and say, okay, my body's still really stressed. It's going to do this for a while. It's no big deal. I'm going to have to calm myself. And as I calm myself, these things will subside. And that's what happens.
I guess it scares me because I feel it's my brain. Like there's, like my brain is hyperstimulated or something. Oop, you there?
Sorry,
Okay.
just dealing with some coughing.
Oh, I have that too. I've been sick myself.
Oh, yeah, we're in kind of a fall climate here, and we've had lots of air pressure changes. So
Yeah.
that usually gets my coughing going. So
Yeah.
anyways, I'm still here. I'm still hearing you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's go ahead.
I forgot what I asked. Oh, I forgot.
It'll come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just,
it's all part and parcel of
oh, I'm
hyperstimulation.
afraid something's wrong with my brain because
Yes.
that's what's reacting right now.
Yeah. Well, there is, when you think about it, the brain is just keyed up. It's just like overly stressed. That's what's happened. And so it's like taking say your normal volume of sensory perception is around 3 or 4, right? Or 2, 3, 4. Well, when the body's hyperstimulated, it cranks up to 10. And sometimes it can go down to 0 where it's like we don't hear much. Sometimes it can
Right.
go right up to 10. So it can act erratically. And that was the thing that really confused me during my recovery. It's like, why is my body doing this all by itself? It's just like sometimes I can feel actually not too bad. And then sometimes it's like I can't take it anymore. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
When I figured out hyperstimulation, that answered my question. It's just how the body behaves erratically when it's hyperstimulated. So I had to get to a really comfortable place of saying, yeah, my body's doing this. It's stressed. My job is to get my stress down,
Okay.
contain my anxious behavior, get my stress down, give my body time, and it will heal. Because if
Okay.
everybody just did that, you'd heal. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Where we keep things going is the ruminating, is to worry about this and worry about that. Oh my gosh, my life is impacted. I can't be with this and I can't go out anymore. I can't go to restaurants. Like, what's
That's what
going
I
on? I
feel.
feel stuck.
Yeah.
It's the whole long list of complaints that I get it because our life is impacted, but that doesn't help us. It keeps us stuck. So we have to stop it. We have to kind of move, like I say in the website, into neutral mode. We have to be more passive about this. All right, my job is to rest, not react to these things, and give my body time. If we do that, the body will heal every single time.
Okay. Because I feel like the rest of my body's fine. Now it's just right here. I feel like, you hear it more, it morphs. It used to be my
Yeah,
whole head was on fire. Now it's just right here.
yeah, yeah. So you're making progress. I mean, the fact that your body's feeling better than it was, that's progress. It means your body is healing, just that you're not there yet.
Right. I
And
think
as you
what
mentioned,
bothers me too the most is my emotional, like you said, I can't like feel joy or
yeah,
contentment or anything like that. I'm scared the whole time.
yeah, yeah,
Like I look at
yeah,
my grandkids and they scare me. It's like,
yeah, yeah. And that's again indicative of how your body's trying to protect you, because that's what it's doing. Amy is
oh, I feel like it's
hyperreactive.
trying to protect me. It
I
feels like
know
it's
it feels,
trying
yeah, thanks a lot, right? I don't really need
yeah,
this
I don't need
protection,
that kind of
but that's what
protection.
it's doing. When stress goes up, Amy goes on hypervigilance, looking for danger, and it's going to try to solve it. So we have to get out of its way and say, no, there's no danger here. My body's stressed. I'm just going to give it time. Because as you make more progress, you'll find that all your symptoms will leave, including the emotional ones and, the thinking and all that. But going after your fears is key here because it's your
Okay.
fears that's keeping you there. Yeah. Finding out what those core fears are, really having a good look at them, having your
Okay.
therapist and you work together to find really good refutement statements. So when those fears pop, it's like, no, this is a reality, not my fear. And
Okay.
this is important too for people who struggle with OCD, again, who have learned to feel safe externally. This is where we have to move that inside. This is where we have to learn to self-soothe and say to ourselves, I'm going to be okay, rather than looking for external cues, thinking we're going to be okay. And that applies to the body. If for people who look for external safety, well, we look at our symptoms. If I don't have any symptoms, I'm safe. Oh, I have
Right.
symptoms, I'm in danger. We have to
Right.
change that
That's
thinking.
me.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, I have symptoms because my body is stressed. It doesn't mean I'm in danger. Amy might think so, but Amy is getting miscues here. Amy, you have to just be quiet. I'm not in any danger. My body's stressed, period. And that stress, as the stress subsides, my body will feel fine. So we don't want to gauge our internal soothing based on how we physically feel because you can't get there, right? When body's hyperstimulated, it's impossible. It's like if you break a wrist, you can't think, well, I'm safe now or I'm in danger until my wrist heals, right? Because there's pain. So we have to realize, okay, I hurt my wrist. It's going to be sore until it heals. Same thing with your body. It's like the body's going to give me symptoms until it heals. I'm not in any danger.
Okay. So I have to look inside of me and soothe my own body
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of going to the million websites and reading. I mean, I know you say to like have a containment statement. Is that the only thing I should be looking at now is the self-soothing? stuff instead of, going to your website every day and looking at your,
And again, that's characteristic of someone who learned to find safety externally.
yeah.
We just hunt for things to make us feel good, right? To make
Oh
us feel
yeah, the
safe. Yeah.
dopamine hit. Yeah.
Well, that too. And we also feel safe when we read something. Oh yeah, that is it. That's me. Okay, I'm gonna be okay. And then next day it's like we're searching again because we're
Yeah,
trying to find
that's
that
me.
soothing extra.
That's
Yeah.
exactly me because
Yeah.
I'm a researcher. Yeah.
So this is where you have to realize that that behavior is good at the beginning until you find information. Now it's time to find that self-soothing on the inside. And you do that by, again, convincing yourself that, all right, my body's symptomatic because it's stressed. I'm not in danger. And as I get my stress down and in time, my body will heal and
Okay.
it'll prove to myself I'm not in danger. And so I know it's easier for me to say because I've been through all that and I've contained enough and gained enough confidence to know that I can't go backwards. But for someone who hasn't got there yet, I know it can be challenging. It can sound like it's just like some other language. But as we contain and self-soothe and as the body heals, that's where the confidence shows, hey, this is going to work. Hey, I am going to be okay. Hey, I've got the tools to keep me okay. That gets rid of
Hmm.
all that other anxiety because it's usually the anxiety about anxiety that keeps everybody stuck.
Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, because I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on in the beginning either. I've never been
Yep.
hyperstimulated.
Yeah.
I've been hypervigilant, but I've never been hyperstimulated before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is new for me.
Yeah. And as we get older, the body doesn't like stress. And
I
so
guess
we're,
not.
we're fine in our 20s, but as the body gets older, your 30s and 40s, all of a sudden our resilience isn't there anymore and the body reacts to stress. And so it's nice that we can get it early so we don't have to go through this later in life. But when we're going through it, got to deal with it. But we can.
Yeah.
The good news is we can. The body can still heal. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I had a stroke like 15 years ago, and that was easier to get through than this. If you
Yeah.
can believe it. I was jogging like the following week.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I think too many people underappreciate how significant anxiety can hit us. Like it is the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. I've been through a lot
yeah,
of challenges, and
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
worst. Because for
Just
me, there
the,
wasn't,
like you said, the bodily symptoms for me is
yeah.
like,
And the
I had
feeling like
the
this,
had the mental ones down, I thought, but then when the bodily ones hit, I was like, what is this? I did
yeah.
not know.
And there's no safe place to go. Like
No,
it goes with you. Like there's no place you can get away from it. It's right there all the time. And for me, I
yeah,
felt lots of times trapped in a vicious cycle of anxiety and symptoms with no reprieve.
right.
Now, the good news is there is, when we know what's going on, we have complete control over the body. That's the good news. That way we can get rid of it all. But until we learn that information and gain confidence in it, it can be a battle. Yeah. So what you're going through is understandable. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, so I asked my husband, what do you think I should ask Jim? So because I've been talking with him a lot. Um,
Mhm.
and he just said what I can do each day to keep my healing going,
Yeah.
like from the moment I get up, because the moment I wake my eyes open, it's like
Yep.
it's like fear, fear, fear. And
Yeah.
of course you just want to, pull the
Yeah.
so
Well, again, it comes back to the basics, and I get it. I know the same thing. Even before I was awake, my body was reacting and stressed, and the next thing, every thought is, what's Teddy going to be like, and what symptoms am I going to get, and how am I going to survive this, and it just goes on and on.
yeah,
Again, one of the things that we do to ourselves is we perpetuate the battle by struggling with it,
right.
by thinking we have to fight through this. And most anxious people are fighters. We've learned to get through our
I'm
challenges by fighting through them. Yeah.
yeah.
The body doesn't like that. We have to take a different approach. We have to focus on the problem, which is stress,
Okay.
stress down. So regular
Uh-huh.
deep relaxation, super important
I do
because
that, yeah.
yeah, that teaches the body to be calmer in those moments. And the more we can deeply relax and sustain that relaxed state, the body learns to be calmer. Because remember, we're dealing with kind of like a thermostat, right? We have
Right.
to manually turn that thermostat down. And we do that through repetition, regular deep relaxation, eliminating as much stress as we can. So we're not cranking ourselves up by stress hormones through that stress. And by certainly adopting a more of a passive acceptance approach to our condition and to life. I mean, a lot of times anxious people also have behaviors where we're overreactive to events around us. We might be like an emotional sponge. We have an article
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out tomorrow called Toxic Empathy, which talks about
That's
that.
what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And from a background like you have and like I have, it just makes sense. That's why you learn to cope with life and react. But we have to change that. We have to realize that we have to put boundaries in what we emotionally invest in, because a lot of times we emotionally invest in a lot in things that we aren't in control of, but we own the emotion anyways. And so we
Right.
have to say, wait a minute, that's not my stuff. I just can't, I feel bad for that person or whatever, but that's not my stuff. They have to
Yeah.
deal with it, not me. So we have to
Yeah.
set good emotional boundaries. And we want to keep our nervous system as calm as we can. I mean, we don't want to get to the place where we're, overly sensitive to stress and fearful of stress, because that's just the wrong direction. We just want to make sure that the body has enough opportunity to recover. And we do that by reducing stress and increasing rest. Do hobbies, things that you love to do. Go for a walk, spend time in nature if it all makes you feel good. Do that more, because that will settle, that'll turn down the hyperstimulation thermostat over time. And as your hyperstimulation comes down, your body will feel better. Those strong impulses won't be as strong. But again, so do those things. Focus on stress reduction, resting your body, giving your nervous system time to heal, but also on containment. Catch
Yeah.
yourself every time you're running down those fear trails. That was a full-time job for me when I first started
I think
recovery.
that's going to be mine too.
It's like a moment by moment tug of war. Your thoughts run down their words. No, don't do that anymore. And I really had to go to saying, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to scare myself. That's what's keeping me here. My worry is my problem. I got to stop that. And I can, because I'm in control of it. I just have to get better at doing it. So if you contain your anxious thinking and reduce your body stress, it's only a matter of time until you'll feel way better.
So I think right now, because I do rest a lot and I walk outside a little bit,
Mm,
um, I think right now it's my internal. I
mhm.
think my internal is keeping everything going
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
right
It
now.
does. It does for almost every one of us anxious people. That's just how it is. That's where we learn to cope. And so
Yeah.
we have to really get good at recognizing that that's that internal battle. That is the problem. And that's
Yeah.
what we have to change by saying, no, I'm not. Because you think about this, before you're dealing with anxiety, you weren't spending any time thinking about anxiety, were you?
No. In fact,
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't felt anxious in years. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm home free. And then all of a sudden, boom,
Yeah.
I
And then
got
we
hit.
get caught up in it. And I understand why we get caught up, but this is what we have to change. It's like, okay, this is why we say at our website, live your life the best you can while recovering, instead of focusing, oh, I can't live until I'm recovered. Because
Yeah.
that's just the wrong, because then we just get focused on it and that's what keeps us stuck. So we have to remove that focus and say, okay, my job is stress reduction and rest, containing my anxiousness. I'll get better at containing. That's a behavior I can change, and it's not, we have to stop it like right now. It's something we work at to get better. So it's like a mild exercise and recovery is, okay, I'm going to, be better control of my thinking. I'm going to give my body sufficient rest and then be patient. Yeah.
Okay. So even like when I have to go out and there's a lot of stimulus that scares me,
Yeah.
um, just keeping myself in it and trying to internally soothe.
Yeah. Well, and this is where the therapist is helpful, because a lot of people talk about exposure to desensitize yourself from the symptoms and the hypersensitive senses. I don't think that works very well, because then we're constantly trying to keep ourselves calm when the body's so overly reactive.
Yeah.
So we're battling symptom after symptom. We just feel stuck. So my approach is deal with the fears first, develop good containment statements, and then slowly immerse yourself back into those environments in little bits that you can take, because you want to be building confidence instead of going into a store for like an hour, going like for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Get yourself, because I know how bad that can feel in like especially crowded environments or bright lights or noisy places. It would just drive my body through the roof, because it could not take all that stimulus. So,
That's what I feel
you know,
like I'm at that point right now. Yeah.
yeah. So focus on your recovery, do little things. Again, your primary job is to get your body settled. And to do that, you can certainly do all the physical things, but going after the thinking is key for you. Identifying where those thoughts are, how you've learned to cope with threats, and being an emotional sponge. Where are your boundaries? Start to do those things, and then as you get more comfortable with that, you'll find that your body will settle in your personal space. But then as you start to, go out into the public, you'll be able to do it in little steps. I'm a big proponent of little steps, not big ones. I've worked with so many clients over the years, and I always say, take little steps, gain little victories. Okay, well, I couldn't leave the city, but I'm going to go fly for 1,000 miles, to this destination. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you think that's going to work? Oh, I think I can do it. And then they come back and they just had a horrible mess because they just took on too
If
much,
you
right?
if you can believe this, last year we went to Wyoming because my daughter wanted us to go on this trip. And I hate heights. And they had us riding these horses up to this top of this. I was, I thought, I'm going to be in a mental institution.
Yeah,
I made it through that, but it was horrific.
yeah,
Talk about
yeah,
overstimulation. Oy.
yeah. So little steps. I mean, you can do those things when you're way better, but taking on
Yeah.
big tasks right
But
now is just gets it. And of course, when you think about this from a purely physical perspective, the body's hyperstimulated, and so it's going to be receiving things at, high intensity. So when we go into environments pushing that, what are we doing? We're stressing the body more. How is
that's
that
what I,
helpful? Right?
yeah, I've been doing
So
that.
yeah, little bits, live your life the best you can, but keep, erring on the side of rest and giving that nervous system time to recover. Because it's the
Okay.
nervous system that needs to recover, and we have to give it what it needs. We can't force it. It's not going to, and putting yourself in those situations where you're going to be exposing yourself to it over and over and over again, it just keeps it going. It's just
Okay.
like it's punishment.
That's
So
what I wondered. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, little
So it's
steps at a
okay
time.
to just say, no, I don't want to go to a restaurant tonight. Let's just sit out in the back deck and have
Yep.
dinner.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And you'll go again. It's just, and when you go, there'll be some, fear attached to it because we've associated a fear with that environment. I get that. But we do it in moderation where we go for a little bit. So why don't we just go and pick up, maybe an ice cream
Yeah,
cone rather than sitting
like a
in there
drink
for,
or something. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and then we'll leave. And then next time is, well, why don't we just have a little sandwich and then we'll leave. And as you build that confidence, okay, I was good here. I did this last time. I'm okay. That's what allows us to extinguish those fears. Jumping in with both feet is not a way to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
That's what I needed to know.
yeah,
Um, One of the other things, and maybe we've already talked about this, but I know you can't force the positive feeling, emotional feelings.
yeah.
So what do I do when the negative ones become overwhelming?
Yeah, yeah. Treat them like any other symptom.
Okay.
All right. I feel this way. My emotions are skewed. It's going to feel overpowering at the moment, but this is temporary. My body's just, let me know what's really stressed. And as my stress comes down, my normal feelings will come back. I know this sounds really unhelpful to people who are experiencing this because it feels so real to us that they'll never come back. We're always going to be in this dark place. How can I ever feel
That's
good
how I feel.
again?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that is hyperstimulation, period. That is what's going on. And of course, we couple that with our fighting it, trying to fight our way out of it. All of that will keep us stuck. So our job is again to relax into it. Okay, my body's stressed. This is how I feel. It'll pass. All right. Because as the body feels, all those good feelings come back. So it's really just if you think about it as a mechanical thing, that's what it is. Stress comes down, good feelings go up. Stress goes up, good feelings go down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I have to work on my fears with my therapist
Yeah.
and then just not jumping in because I think that's what I've been doing, trying to jump into things and expecting to feel great,
Yeah.
but kind of just give myself
Yep.
small things to do.
Little victories is super important. Little victories lead to big ones. Trying to get big victories your way, keep you stuck. See it over and over and over again. There are some people who can do it, but they're usually not struggling with the degree of anxiety that we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, how about assessing myself as if to should I be self-assessing? Like, am I getting better? How do I know I'm getting better?
Well, I wouldn't, some therapists like to gauge you session by session in terms of where you're at. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I just like to work on the underlying factors,
Okay.
give your body time to just feel better naturally. Typically, what happens when I think you're recovering the right way is you'll be making behavioral work, you'll be making the changes, you'll see successes in those changes, but then you'll stop and say, wow, look at where I've come. I didn't realize how good I'm doing.
Yeah.
rather than trying to micromanage it week after week after week, because it keeps
Right.
the focus on that rather than actually doing the underlying factor work that makes all the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to
Now,
stop
I was just
looking at
gonna,
external things for safety.
yeah, I would recognize you're doing that because you're trying to find that sense of calm, try to find it internally. Um, Again, I don't know how long you've been in our materials, if you've been there for a year or so and you've read them.
A couple years.
Okay, so you have a good understanding what's there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't keep going back because you're going back there for reassurance that you should be trying to get from yourself or your therapist. Try to develop that internally because, again, people who are OCD-ish, we need to learn to move those external comforts and safeties inside. We want to generate them more because if you look at it from a practical standpoint, when children grow up in healthy environments and they go to their parents and they have concerns and things, and the parents reassure them but help the children figure it out for themselves, they develop that internal soothing. But when we come from backgrounds where our parents either fixed everything or tried to make everything good for us, and we go to them for our safety, we don't learn how to develop that internal piece, right? So that's where we have to change it. We have to start developing that internal piece now. And we do that, with therapy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so that's my last piece then to get my this last part of my hyperstimulation down is the internal soothing.
Yeah. If you
Okay.
get your hyperstimulation down, you'll see a huge difference. I know people can't believe it, but they do.
Yeah.
Because the fear center dials down, the fear center drops back down, and the rational center of the brain takes over. It's like, I don't know if you've had this experience, but say you're anxious, you finally get to sleep, you wake up in the middle of the night and everything seems like awful, all big problems and everything else. And then you're able to drift off again. You wake up in the morning, you think, why was I so fearful of that? Is
Okay.
because the rationalization area of the brain has increased, right? And the fears are a little bit suppressed because you got some rest. And so things look clearer. But that's what happens when we get our hyperstimulation down. The rationalization areas of the brain increase, the fear center decreases, which means we can see things more clearly. We have more control over the anxiety brake. And as you know, the anxiety brake resides in the cortex or the rationalization areas of the brain. So we're able to stop those fear messages. But as long as stress is elevated, the rationalization areas are weaker. The anxiety brake is loose. It doesn't hold very much. And Amy's just running off like a, crazy person,
Right.
right? Look out
Yeah.
for this, look out for that. And what about this? And you're going to do this, and this is awful. So this is where we have to get that stress on because it makes a world of difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess that's all I had. Um, it's where I'm stuck. So,
Yeah.
so if
Yeah.
I do this over and over and over and over, I should start to see
You will.
some movement.
Yep. You will.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
the body is designed to heal. Its default is healing. We just keep it hyperstimulated with all the worries and everything else. So that's why the level 2 recovery is so important because we want to go after the unhealthy coping behaviors that keep us stuck. Because, for example, having a conversation with one of our therapists in the upcoming weeks about Claire Weeks' material, a lot of people, will just say, well, I'm going to use Claire Weeks' material. I'm going to be good. Well, floating only helps you manage symptoms. It doesn't do anything to change the behaviors that keep a person anxious. And so unless you address those behaviors, you're going to always be bouncing back and forth in anxiety and symptoms and recovery and
That's
anxiety symptoms and recovery. Yeah.
that's exactly what I think happened to me. The Zoloft, I think, kind of put a brake on
Mm.
it for a while. But I think that because I am an anxious person and I never learned how to not be anxious, I got to the stress
Yep.
level where the Zoloft went, I ain't working anymore,
Yep. Hmm.
because
Yep.
I really didn't have a problem with it for a long time. But
Yeah.
um,
The other thing too is if we don't deal with our underlying factors, as we get older, we're going to be bumping into really tough life challenges.
yeah, it's
If we
true.
don't have healthy skills, we're just right back to anxiety
Yeah,
disorder.
yeah, that's where I
Yeah.
am. I know my brother, he is coming to visit in a couple weeks, who has got the OCD. He's like,
Mm.
I'm dealing with this stuff again. And
Hmm.
we talked a little bit and he's like, it's hard. You got to really fight your thoughts. And I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean. So he's
Yeah.
going through it again too. So
Yeah. And level two recovery helps us to not just fight our thoughts, but to replace them. So our healthy
Okay.
behaviors become the default instead of the unhealthy ones.
Have
And
you
that
ever heard
makes
of,
all the difference.
have you ever heard of this book called Brain Lock
Haven't
by
heard of that
Jeffrey
one.
Schwartz?
No.
It's an OCD book, and I read it a long time ago when I was dealing with OCD like 25 years ago. And it's really good, and it really helped me. But it's like that. It's replacing. It's it's what you teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing, but it's a good book.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, the other thing too is there's a side of dealing with anxiety, replacing anxious behaviors, but then there's also developing resilience, right? Healthy
That's what I mean.
relationships, boundaries, all these things that we talk about on the website are so important because all of those healthy behaviors will build in. So when challenges come along, we use all of those. You know what, healthy emotional boundaries are. So you're not overly invested in someone else's pain, or you're not trying to bail them out because you feel sorry for them and owning all their, consequences. When you have healthy relationships, then you don't have stress coming from them, right?
Right.
And how you face uncertainty. If you have a good grounding in resilience, well, then our first condition of fear isn't the worst thing right away. It's like, okay, I can do this. And then when you go to the third condition of fear, I can manage this. I can handle this because I've got these skills. It just removes anxiety on so many levels. So that's why we really, talk about the whole approach to underlying factor work, not just dealing with the anxious thoughts, but how a person copes with life. It all makes a difference. And when you look at all the therapists that we have, the ones that we recommend, they've all had to do this work and their lives have all been transformed by it. And some of our therapists have gone through some pretty difficult life challenges recently. And while they're anxious at times, they don't struggle with anxiety disorder because they have good coping skills. They know how to
Okay.
offset it. They know what to say to themselves. They have good tools to draw from. And so, I can't say this strongly enough. If you're dealing with anxiety, don't wait till you're 50 or 60 to deal with your underlying factors because that's when life, usually starts to get
I
more
could have
difficult.
used you a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Develop those skills now. So when you get to those ages and the challenges come up, you're well equipped, right? It's way
Yeah.
easier.
Well,
Yeah.
that didn't happen to me, unfortunately. But
Yeah. Yeah. I was blessed because I got through this, I started at 24. So I worked through this till my mid 30s and it made a huge difference in my life. I mean, prior to my recovery, could barely travel. Everything was anxious. Was having trouble just living, never mind doing things that I did after I recovered. Like I made major life shifts and changes, and I've experienced a great life because of my coping skills. Anxiety didn't hold me back. So yeah, do it sooner than later. But for those of us who haven't had that opportunity, and of course the information wasn't there either years ago. Now
no,
we can do
no.
it any time in our lives.
I
So
mean, I didn't know I was OCD until I was pregnant with my third child, and I was having a bout of it because of a trigger sent me. I stopped working, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Um,
mhm.
and I went to a psychiatrist and sat down, and she goes, "Oh, you have OCD. That's easy to get rid of." And I went, "Yeah." But I had been like you, like, what's wrong with me, for
Yeah.
years. And then they throw you, meds or whatever. But
Hmm.
nobody knew what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so we're lucky now that there's a lot more is known. We know that the path to recovery is there and it's been used and it works, right? The challenge is when we're in the midst of high degree hyperstimulation, it's tough because the body's kind of fighting against us.
Yeah, that's what I haven't had to deal with before is that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But the good
making it
news, it
a little
settles when we
harder.
give it what it needs. When we give it the rest it needs, the nervous system does settle out and we feel, more of ourselves again and just deal with our cognitive stuff and we're good. So, I
So
mean,
if say my husband was talking to me while I was making dinner yesterday and it was bothering me.
mhm,
And so I kind of maybe snapped at him or something like
yeah.
because he asks me questions and I'm like, what do you think? Like, is that just I should explain to him that that's just how I mean, how do I deal with something like that without
Yeah. If you have an understanding spouse and they
okay,
understand what you're going through, then yeah, having those conversations so you're not feeling stuck.
okay.
Sadly, a lot of people don't have that supportive spouse because a lot of people don't understand what we go through. They just think, well, we're making it up or we're just, emotionally unstable or
Just
whatever.
snap out of it type of thing. That's what
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
that,
of my family's like, oh, just snap out of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as you know, we don't. We have to work through it. So if you don't have a supportive person, maybe just
I
removing
do.
yourself
Yeah.
for a while. Okay. Then talk about it. Yeah. Makes it
Okay.
easier for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think we've had a good conversation about
So
these
when I
things.
have like my therapist says, you're going to have a good recovery story.
You will. Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
The thing
Okay.
is, we have to work at it. I can't stress
I
this
know.
enough.
I didn't realize this at all either. Believe
Yeah.
me.
Recover. There's no fast remedy for anxiety. And if you want to get lasting success, you got to do the cognitive work, period. There's just no other way around it. Yeah.
Okay.
But the benefits are significant. I mean, it revolutionized my life. I never would have done any things that I did had I not
Wow.
recovered. So it's just massive. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, thank
thank
you so
you.
much for,
Yeah.
again, your patience for me having to
Oh, not at
reschedule.
all. And what else
Glad
am
we
I
can
going to
chat.
do? Thank you.
Well, we have
But
some interesting things coming to our recovery support area. We're going to be doing more of these. We also have a bit of a surprise coming in the next couple of
oh,
weeks. So
oh,
watch
good.
the members area for that.
Okay.
And hopefully we can chat again.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Thank you. On the
Okay.
other side, right? The other
Well,
side of hyperstimulation.
we're going to have some group conversations again.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd
So I
be
have
awesome.
some, yeah. So I have people talking amongst themselves and more
Oh,
frequently. So
nice.
that'll be good too. Yeah.
That would
So
be very helpful.
hopefully you'll
Thank you.
join in that there.
Yeah.
I wish you every
Okay.
success.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you.
you're working. I don't know who your therapist did, but hopefully the therapist is really good and understands your situation and you have a good
Can I
fit.
say it? Are you recording this? But
I am recording it. You can say it. Yeah.
Jill.
Oh, yeah, Jill. Oh, Jill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sweetie.
She's trying to toughen me up.
Well, and we need it, especially when, we kind of find safety externally. We have to build a
Yeah,
tougher
she's told
skins.
me the same thing that in fact, I wrote a containment statement and she's like, no, I don't like that. She's like, I want you to soothe yourself
Yep.
from within, so she's onto it too.
She's on it. And I
Yeah,
know it takes work. We have to do because it's not something we naturally do. Our
I
natural
know.
inclination is to
Yeah,
look externally because that's what we learn right from birth, right? Kind of thing, or early ages. So um, knowing in the direction we have to go is good, but it takes work to get there. But you
right.
will, because we can
Okay.
all self-soothe internally. We just have to develop the
I'm going to
skill set
hold you
and
to that.
confidence.
I will.
All
I'm going to hold you to
right,
it.
sounds good. Well,
Okay,
thanks again for
thanks.
the conversation. Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
and hopefully we can chat again in the future.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye for now.